All right, so this is a system of equations. System of equations means that we have both an x and a y that we need to solve for. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I have three separate equations. So I went ahead and labeled one of them 1, another one 2, and another one 3. So number 1 was this one right here. Number 2 is 2x plus 30. That's this one. And then number 3 was this one down here. All right, now we're going to have to go ahead and create an equation for each combination. So one of our combination is 1 and 2. All right, so for 1 and 2, what do we have? Well, we have a linear pair. So these two add up to 180. So I'm going to go ahead and say x plus 3y plus 2x plus 30 is equal to 180. So that's 1 and 2. Another combination we have is 2 and 3. So 2 and 3. Now what do we have here? We have consecutive interior angles. So consecutive interior angles also add up to 180. So 2x plus 30 plus 5y plus 20 is equal to 180. So that's equation 2 and equation number 3. Okay? So here's one equation, here's the other equation. And here was one equation, here was the other equation. Right? And together they add up to 130. All right, 180. And then the last combination that I can have, I have 1 and 2, 2 and 3. Oh, I could have 1 and 3. Right? So 1 and 3. So 1 and 3, what kind of angle pairing is this? Well, 1 and 3, the angle pairing, these are corresponding angles. And corresponding angles is part equals part. So we've got one part, which is x plus 3y, is equal to the other part, which is 5y plus 20. Okay? So I'm going to show you two ways to solve, and you can pick whichever way you like the most. The first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to pick one equation that adds up to 180 and one equation where we have part equals part. Well, this one has bigger numbers, so I'm just going to go ahead and go with the first one. So I'm going to go ahead and go with this equation and this equation. All right? So I'm going to rewrite them down here, and I get x plus 3y plus 2x plus 30 equals 180. So that's this first one, and I'm going to go ahead and simplify it. So I'm going to combine my like terms. So I've got my x and 2x, so I can combine those. I get 3x plus 3y is plus 30. I forgot about that. Okay. So plus 30 is equal to 180. Okay. And then the next thing I'm going to do is write down my other equation. And the other equation we said we were going to pick is this one. So x plus 3y equals 5y plus 20. I want to have my x's on one side. Just for this particular method I'm going to teach you called substitution, we have this x that's all by itself. It's easy to solve everything in terms of x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this 3y over to the other side. So to move it, I'm going to subtract 3y from both sides. And I get x is equal to 2y plus 20. Now I'm going back to this first equation up here, and I'm going to go ahead and instead of saying 3x, I'm going to say 3 times all of this, because that's x and all of this are the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3x, so 3 times all of that, 3 times 2y plus 20 plus 3y plus 30 is equal to 180. Okay, distribute, I get 6y plus 60 plus 3y plus 30 is equal to 180. Now, if you're like, oh, this is too much work, I don't want to do this kind of math, don't worry about it. I'm going to show you another way that's way simpler, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and combine my like terms, okay? So I got my numbers without variables, and I've got my variables. So 6y plus 3y is 9y, 30 plus 60 is 90, and on the other side we still just have 180. Move this 90 to the other side, and I get 9y is equal to 90. So divide both sides by 9, and I get y is equal to 10. So that's my y. All right, now we still have to solve for x. So what we can do is we have our y here. All I have to do is go back to one of my initial equations, and the initial equations I said, oh, this one or this one, and we're going to choose one of them and plug in what we found for y. So instead of saying y, we're going to put a 10 in here. All right, I chose this equation. You can choose whichever one you want. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write. You might be like, hey, why didn't you pick them with the more simplified version? Well, I don't want to, like, if I made a mistake, I'll carry that mistake through. So I'm going to go back and just use the initial equation that we had for part equals part. That's this equation right here. And I'm going to go ahead and instead of y, I'm going to put in the 10 that y is equal to. So I get x plus 3 instead of y. I said I was going to put 10 is equal to 5y. So instead of y, I'm going to put the 10 plus 20. Okay, so then when I multiply everything out, I get x plus 3 times 10 is 30 equals 5 times 10 is 50 plus 20. Combine my like terms and move this 30 over to the other side. So moving my 30, so subtract 30 from both sides. Okay, and that gets rid of that, and x is equal to 50 plus 20 is 70 minus 30, and I get 40. Okay, x is equal to 40. Now I'm going to show you a much easier way to do this.